Wait till you see the one. Wait till you see the NIGHTYARD intro. I tried to finish it right before we got done, but it was in the toaster like a minute ago. So it takes about 5 minutes.
That is the coolest.
Wait till next week.
Welcome to NIGHTYARD with the felons. We've got in the lower box, that is our California prison expert. If you don't know anything about the California prison system, you should probably thank your parents and and a lot of luck, because it's an ugly place to be incarcerated. Right. The probably the worst, and it sets the tone for most of the rest of the United States when it comes to prison stuff. Even in the feds, when you cross into California, it becomes a whole different ballgame. Casper, how are you, my brother?
I'm good, man. I'm really good. Yep.
And Russ, you feeling tip top shape? Where's that little dog?
Oh, where is she? Come here, Lily.
The second cutest animal on the internet. Hate to do that to you, bro, but it's kind of the way it goes. I am not joking. And those people in the chat probably know the other animal I'm talking about. Pretty cute. I'd like to see it next to the kitty. She doesn't care about animals. I mean,
I haven't seen that little guy.
You haven't?
You haven't seen Lily?
Do you know what's funny about Lily? Is our friend from Black Canyon.
Is it a Chiweenie?
No, it's a poodle chihuahua mix, right?
No, toy chihuahua.
Toy chihuahua. Yeah, but it's like the teacup things. You know who had one of those? Laffy.
Oh, really?
I had pictures of it. Yeah, told some really funny stories that aren't funny, like haha, but pretty funny anyway. He had an experience with the dog where it accidentally got a hold of a bit of a stash. And to hear him tell the story, when he brought it to the vet, they had to get the thing wet and cold to try to lower the heart rate and all that. And he said, as it is, it's all fur. He's like, when they got that thing small, he's like, you've never seen anything like it. He goes, it looked like a little wet rat. It was fairly funny. Oh, wow,
I used to always say that ain't a dog. That's a dog and a rat in a dog suit.
Exactly, little furry rat in a dog suit. So let's fire this thing up. I want to start off with some questions for you two, because we've had something happen in the Diddyverse that a lot of people are talking about, and sadly, a lot of people are talking about it wrong. And this is one of those questions that you really couldn't have anybody but a convict answer. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Thank you. So have you ever been transported to medical, either of you?
Yes.
Good.
Of course. Yeah.
All right, good. Let's start with you, Russ. When they take you out of the prison, there's a lot being made currently about the fact that Diddy was removed at night. There's a lot of content creators saying, they snuck him out in the middle of the night because they're going up to do something nefarious. There's even some people making videos that said this was where they're going to swap him out for the body double. This is where the clone goes in so that Diddy can escape. And Russ, did they take you out at high noon, or did they take you out in the middle of the night?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't have anything at night, because anything at night is construed as
snitching.
You're going to go out there, be a bootlicker or something like that. But during the daytime and a couple riots, I've had to be taken out because I was injured to the point where they thought I needed medical, and all I needed was a couple stitches. I could have done that in the cell.
Yeah.
But other than that, no.
Every time I've ever been brought up in the feds, what they do is they grab you at about dinner time. They turn your phone off. You come back from dinner, you go to call your girl, your phone's off. You're like, damn, they come and grab you. They take you to the shoe. And then and then sometime at around midnight, 1 a.m., they come and tell you why you're in the shoe, right? Because you're up there the whole time going, what the actual deuce did I do to end up in the shoe at this point? And they come up with 3 guys. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. They got belly chains and all that. You're like, what's this? Going to bed, taking you out. And then they take you in the hospital through the back door. That's how it's happened every single time it's ever happened to me.
Right.
Except the time I got punctured. When I got punctured, they took me out high, 11 o'clock. I got taken out at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, but that was
immediately.
Yeah. But they're not making any kind of special arrangements for Diddy. And a lot of people are saying that. I promise you, folks, everything you're hearing is standard operating procedure. I mean, bottom line. And they won't use the same hospital for every patient. There are so many hospitals in and around MDC Brooklyn, and they're going to take people to different places. The thought that you could time this or figure out where an inmate was going, you would really need a whole lot of help. It wouldn't have been a random. And then once you bought off the person who could tip you off, now you're going to have to figure out where they take him, what nurse is going to get on him or whatever, because it's going to have to be a nurse or a doctor to bring the stuff in, because there's going to be U.S. Marshals standing there the entire time. Two of them packing heat, and they're never going to step away from that dude the entire time. I mean, I promise you, if they strip him out and do whatever, there's going to be two dudes standing there with pistols. I had a stroke, and I got brought in there. I was there for a long time, and they never leave you. They come in shifts, but they never leave you.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard stuff. If you have any questions, folks, the way this night yard thing works is put a bunch of cues in front of anything that you want to ask, and we try to star them. If there's any that we've missed, we will go back and try to grab them. But if you star our questions, we will get them answered. So I'm kind of flipped out by the whole thing, because this isn't. They're making so much more of this than it ought to be. And I know that happens a lot with the Diddy case in general, but damn, this is really bad. Tommy, you have often mentioned the California prison system and how bad it is. I have heard similar things about Florida. How do they compare? What have you guys heard about the Florida system? I have also heard from people that have done time that it's ugly. I've never done any time there. You have, haven't you, Casper?
No, in the feds down in Florida. That's it. But I've had I listened to like two different other people on YouTube that have done Florida time, like JD Delay has done Florida time.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. Talk about it.
What's that dude? Pablo Jumpsuit or whatever his name is.
Pablo, yep.
Jumpsuit Pablo's done Florida time. And it sounds pretty nuts. But they're not on no racial time down there. They're actually on race trader time down there. And I don't mean that like, I shouldn't have said it like that. But you know what I mean? They're like
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
That's not and you know something? If anybody takes offense, that unfortunately there are certain things. This is very much like my fiance when she speaks Scientology. We spent a decent amount of time trapped in this. Mm-hmm. And you do pick up a bit of a vocabulary, and you won't notice that you're doing it until you fall back in with a bunch of dudes that have done time, and then you'll start talking about beating the bark off of people, and your language just sort of falls back in there.
Busting a grape.
Busting a grape.
That fool won't bust a grape, dude. I already know, man.
But a food fight, softer than hospital cotton.
Walter's backyard.
What is race trader time? Well, it's what ends up happening is there compared to California. I think what is being said is that California is there's a very, very strict line that is drawn, and it keeps everybody separated in a very serious way. And it doesn't happen like that in the rest of the country. And it's in some places, especially in places in the South, this is going to sound awful, and it shouldn't, but it causes a lot of violence and a lot of trouble, because a lot of the people that end up in these prisons have done time, what they would call California time, which is how most of the rest of the country is doing it. So when you get down and you've got this race, that race, and then a group of people that have come together from both races and are sort of living their lives as homeboys, it's a beautiful concept. It's in execution. In execution, it causes a lot of trouble. So when I was in there working with Q, we kept our mouths shut. We hid as much as we possibly could. We weren't like walking around the yard kicking it, arm in arm, because it would have gotten him in a hell of a lot of trouble. It would have got me in a lot of trouble. And people we've never met may end up fighting because the two of us are kicking it. It's a very bizarre world.
Yeah.
Keep that on the down low.
Yeah. You got to keep that kind of friendship on the down low.
And the term race trader, it sounds you use it to like put someone put someone down, but that's not how I meant it. I meant it like they so when So like say Tommy and Q, you know, say I found out and I'm a hardcore white supremacist. I'd be like, oh, those guys are race trading. So that means they're sympathizing for the other one's race just to be friends. But that's not really what's happening. They're just friends. Tommy's not betraying the white race and Q's not betraying the African American race. And so, but that's the term that's used. And that's why, like, I could have thought of a better term to say than that, but that's what they would have said.
That's
down there.
Speak. That's prison speak.
And I was just trying to, like, you know, introduce that term into what's going on there.
Yeah. It's amazing, folks, how much different the world is inside than it is outside. Do they test for HIV in prison? You betcha. Yeah, in the feds, they sure do. They take you in for what they call the full battery. And when you get a full battery of tests in the feds, they're testing everything from blood sugar to see if you have Hep C or HIV or both, and then what your numbers are. And once you get diagnosed with having these things, then you go on chronic care, and it is a never-ending trip to the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, trip to meds, because every 6 months they're going to bring you in and do it again.
They'll put you in the medical ward, all that.
No, honestly, the Qs will get you the questions answered. We're going to be starring them, and we get back to them, but they come up fast. But I promise you, we will get to all of them. Did we do this one? This may have already been asked. What are the biggest differences between state prison and fed prison?
Do you really want me to say?
Depends on who you ask. Let's let Russ answer this one.
Yeah, in state prisons, unlike federal prison where you don't get anything except typewriters and microwaves, and emails and all that good stuff. We get TVs in our cells. I think we get more freedom. We don't transfer every, what was it, 60 days or 90 days or whatever.
Well, the only time in the feds, you can end up in a prison for 5 or 6 years. You can end up there, but once your points drop, you're automatically getting shipped somewhere. And if you're in a lockdown unit, then every 21 days they move you. You can't stay in a cell for more than 21 days.
Yeah, we didn't do that. So, but there are guys. Yeah, there are guys that catch 115s. You know what those are, right?
Yep.
At least Tommy should.
And you got weightlifting. I think you've left out a lot of your spoiled stuff there, brother. So let's start with all of the stuff that they get that we don't. They get televisions in their cell. They get the ability to lift weights. They get video games. They can look at dirty magazines. Wait, it hasn't stopped. What's the other one that's just righteous? You guys get packages from the street.
Every quarter.
What?
Every
packages.
Quarter. At the time, you could send in 6 cartons of cigarettes and coffee and cans of tobacco, tennis shoes, jeans, sweats.
Jeans.
I remember when I first got to the feds, my case manager called me down and he's like, yeah, but you got to come get into my office. I'm like, all right. And there's this big box sitting on his desk. I think I might have told this my first time on NIGHTYARD. And there's this big box. He's like, man, he opens it and he starts pulling out tobacco and T-shirts and, you know, I think some tortillas. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And it was my grandmother just doing what she knew, you know, because all my uncles, all my uncles are in the state in California, and my mom's brothers. Yeah.
When I was in the state, a guy got a package in. Because we could get them back then. I didn't have anybody sending me anything, but you could get a package. And he had a box of cereal and all of the balloons, the pink hearts, yellow moons, all that. They were just 10 sacks, every single one of them. And this fool's in there trading stuff, right? And he's like, yeah, you give me 3 bags of 4 Aces, I'll give you that cereal. And I was like, all right. And he goes, can I get a bowl though? 1 bowl of it? I'm like, sure. So he gets the bowl and I put that first spoonful and I was like,
why is that rubbery?
Damn, why did I let him have any of this? We cut a deal. I got a few, but
I mean, we can get fans, stingers, you know, all the things that you can't. Remotes for your TVs, it's stick remotes,
I'm
CD
sorry, this is
players.
prison we're talking about, right?
You're right. Yeah.
Oh, I thought, because for a second I thought maybe we described where you're living now.
No.
No, the feds, you get nothing, people.
I've been in rehabs on the street that you can't get that much stuff.
That's true.
You absolutely can't get that much stuff.
No, the halfway house is that way too. Ain't no way in hell you can have all that in the halfway house.
But don't,
They'd go
hey,
postal.
don't get me wrong. You can get all that taken away in one swoop if there's a racial problem or, you do something wrong.
That was another thing I found unusual when I did state time was if you got busted and they took you to the SHU, all your stuff went with you.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Unless you were put on disciplinary segregation. So like the 2 weeks you're waiting to see the disciplinary hearing officer, you got your television, you got your tobacco, you got.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was,
I'm
telling you, the States was where to be. And everybody kept saying the feds are so much better.
Well, they were handing out my sentences like it was candy back then. I mean, as soon as I got out, they were doing that 3-strike law. But I mean, you guys we could get all that, but if we went to SHU, it's like when I went to SHU for having that talk with those guards, I didn't get any of that. I got about 3 months of just nothing but leaning against the bus window.
Oh yeah, you'd be lucky to get Neutralope if once you have those kind of conversations. I've experienced all of that.
Yeah.
Were you allowed to take public elevators in the hospital when you were transported? At my hospital, I have been made to wait for the next staff elevator by a nice man with a gun. When the times that I went in, I don't think I ever got in an elevator. I don't think that ever happened. I think that everything that happened to me when I was there happened to be on the first floor. So that's a question I couldn't answer.
Yeah, I've been in an elevator.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. They made me face the wall, and
I always hated that. There's even they do make you do that in the hospital too. I mean, when you walk into any place and you're shackled or whatever, they tell you before you go in, if you see a human being, get your face against the wall. So you take like 6 steps and go, turn and face the wall, and then you take like 6 steps and you turn and face the wall. But if you do it every single time, there's a 1 in 10 chance they might buy you a cheeseburger on the way back.
Yep.
Right? So you're always
never had that. We never had that. I had about, I don't know, we had about 60 of those bologna sandwiches on that bus, and they all tasted like diesel fuel.
Oh yeah,
load up.
Yep.
Load up.
I love those sandwiches.
Transport sandwiches are the things to eat, or when you first get to a jail.
I love them. Yeah.
In Nevada, you get unlimited oranges because they figure most people are probably coming through withdrawal, and there's enough sugar in an orange to chill a guy out.
Sugar cookie.
Yeah, unlimited oranges, sugar cookies. Yeah, everything designed to calm down anybody that really needs a fix.
Those sugar cookies you can fold in half, and they stay like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and they're chewy like bubble gum. But hey, they get the job. They're a little bendy. They're definitely not crispy. Nothing in there is crispy. Kind of nasty all the way around. What happened to the Menendez brothers? They seem to have disappeared, and they were going to get out soon. Everybody forget about them. Well, politically, I don't think the clout is still there as much, but no, the Menendez brothers are going to end up getting out. The resentencing is coming. It's they got to. So you know where we're at with Q. Okay, they had that. They are going to get resentenced. They're going to go in front of the judge, and that's going to happen. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, but I just seen a thing where, because of the fires, they had to postpone it. So then that would suck, man. Could you imagine? They've been waiting for this date, man, and they had the Netflix thing come out, and everything's they're excited, and then LA catches on fire. Now they can't go to court.
How dare you, Los Angeles? How dare you?
That would be my luck, dude. My luck would have been we'd have been on our way to the courthouse, and a flame would have caught the bus on fire, and I would have died, the day before I was getting out,
That, something, I used to have dreams like that. As I was getting close to the end of my rip, I used to have dreams like that. And the worst moment, I don't know how to explain this to anybody else, but when you get to the very end, when they're about to let you out, they go, okay, Just 1 sec. We're going to run you through that NCIC computer one more time and make sure you don't have any warrants or holds. And then we'll open the door and let you out. And I believe wholeheartedly they do that just to be shitty.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I know
Yeah.
they've already run you. You know, they're not going to let you get that far, but that you're sitting on the bench going like this. You're like, bro, you hit the return button and it comes up. Don't tell me you guys don't have high-speed internet. Like it takes 10 minutes to run me? They just want to sit there and torture you. They're sick people.
I was in there when it took me forever to get transferred from county to state because the Northridge or earthquakes and all that stuff happened. And in our pod, you could see the big pillars in between each fish tank. They were spider webbing. I mean, it was so bad. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, dude, this is going to sound crazy. I was in Pinal County Jail, Casa Grande, Arizona.
Uh-huh.
I got pulled over. I was heading to Tucson. I got pulled over. I had a warrant in California, or it might even been Utah. Anyways, they kept me in the Pinal County Jail, and there was like this much water in the Pinal County Jail, so we're all trudging through water, and there was TB there. All the Pisces had TB. Anyways, I'm laying in bed, and I feel the whole thing shake.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, dude, we just had an earthquake, and I was like, I didn't know we had earthquakes in Arizona, and the guy was like, no, it was in Northridge, California.
Right.
And check this out. I had quit a job. I had actually taken the company truck. I was going to Tucson in the company truck of the job that I had quit the day before. And the job that we had to do, we were building a general nutrition center in the Northridge Mall. So I was supposed to be at the Northridge Mall that morning, but instead I went to, I was going to Arizona. I was taking the truck, everything. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, crazy. But I felt it.
I've been through 2 of them in prison. I've been through 2, one was in a jail, and they freaked out in the jail. Freaked out. Put us on a lockdown for 2 days. Had people come in and the structural engineers. Yeah, structural engineers come in. To
Oh
look
wow,
at the
that makes
facility
sense.
But when it happened at Victorville, they were like, okay, no big deal. We were in California. But the funniest thing about that one is I'm laying on the bottom bunk reading. And my cellie's laying up top, and he's not a dude I get along with. We're not even the same. He was a Latin king, bro. And I had just hit the yard, and they said, you only got to live with this dude for 3 days. He's cool for 3 days. Like he said, he'll take you in there. And the King Nation's cool, but they don't want to live with a guy that's not a banger. You know what I mean? On a white dude. Like he didn't want that at all. And he's on the top rack. And he goes, hey, man, get your feet off my bunk. And I go, hell are you talking about? Like, I'm laying there, right? But we're bolted right to the wall. He's like, kick my bunk again, dude. And I was like, I didn't kick your bunk. And the whole room started doing this one, and like things were rattling on the desk. And he goes, oh, my bad, Doug.
You're like, is that me too, man? Am I moving the cell, bro?
Hey, you know something? Right. This is sad though. Listen, we got off to a bad start. I'm not trying to bag on anybody's religion or anything else, but this is a true story, and it's kind of how it went down. I don't know. There's a lot of religions I don't know anything about. But I go in, and he's got this like candle little setup right on the shelf in the bed. You got the one shelf. Well, he's got this little setup up there, and he's got like a shot glass with what looks like Coca-Cola or coffee in it. He's got an open Coke, and he's got like 4 Snicker bars, and there's some other stuff. And I said to him, "Hey, what are you doing on the Snicker bars? What are those, 2 for $1?" And he just got barky on me. He's like, "Those are," he goes, "Those are for the goddess." He's like, "Those are." Those are sacrificed for the goddess. I'm like, she gonna eat all 3 of them? That's why I'll buy 1. I'll give you 2 for 1 on them, whatever. That statue doesn't look like she's getting ready to knock any of those 3 back. I'm just saying, maybe she could wait a day. He didn't get any laugh out of it at all, dude. He was not amused with my humor, so we got off to a bad start. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but it came out that way. So, anyway, could this be a play for? Perhaps Diddy meeting with an investigator. You know something? That's not such a. I don't think that's such a far-flung idea. I really don't.
They did that with Sammy the Bull.
Yeah, they did.
They took him out at night.
I mean, yeah, if the investigator isn't there at the spot to talk to him, and they're going to take him down to like the, where the prosecutors are. Well, they would probably take him to the courthouse and then meet in a conference room. I would imagine.
Yeah.
They wouldn't take them to like the actual office. Absolutely. They would take them out the night before or at night and treat it just like a medical thing.
Well, they got to get creative. You know what always used to blow me away? When you go in the feds, they got a thing on the wall that says, got a tip you want to give? Call, I don't remember what there's a number. I don't remember what it is, but
Yep.
it's, and it's like all one number, like 5555555 or something like that. And so you never, ever are allowed to be in that phone room alone. You are never allowed to be in that phone room alone. Like if you go into a phone room and shut the door and you're the only dude in there, you're calling that number. Like that's it.
Right.
They're going to assume, even if you just got to go to make a phone call alone, you just got to call a homeboy and be like, hey, you step in here for a sec, because it's just everybody's afraid that kind of crap is going on at all times. You got to kind of be slick with how you're doing it. That's not such a far off, theory. I think that's a chance. How do I treat people of mixed race, people that don't fit in any group? It depends on the prison you're at, don't you think?
Yep. Well, actually, it depends on the person, what they choose. You could have half Chinese, half American, which there was a lot, half white boy.
Yeah.
Or nowadays, you can't get away from, being the mix of black or white. But there's still a lot of things that are political. You will not, you won't see a white gang member from another race. It's still frowned upon, but what can you do?
We had there was a guy at Black Canyon who was half native and half white, Redwood, and he absolutely ran in both cars and nobody cared. Like he'd eat with the white boys for 4 days, and then he'd go over and eat with the natives for 2 or 3 days, and nobody cared at all. He was just super cool. Everybody loved him. He was a great dude. He was one of the easiest guys to get along with on that yard.
Right. The Indians, the Native Americans, we got along with great.
The feds is jam-packed.
Yeah,
I think a big chunk of the population.
I think they're the most dangerous group we had. Actually, they were dangerous.
They run a really tight ship.
Yes, they do.
They don't put up with a lot of crap within their car. They are quick as hell to do damage to people.
Yep.
Love ending my week with the 3 convicts. Love it. Thank you so much, Love Mama Bear. Appreciate that. Let's knock this one out. And listen, folks, if you go, hey, my question was a long time ago, that's because I got a starred section and I'm jumping back and forth, so they will be answered. Do you have to have a certain number of years in before you can get your own cell?
No.
Wouldn't that be a great idea?
Yes.
For real, wouldn't that be a great idea?
Yep.
I've always thought that would be great.
It sucks because when I went in there, I did have a lower bunk when I first got to like Ironwood. When it opened, I was like the second or third bus there, and I had a bottom bunk, but we were on, yard lockdown anyway because we had new guys. Had a bottom bunk. My cellie came in that I was with the whole time I was at Ironwood, and he was the shot caller, and it only took, one person to know who he was, and he saw me and he goes, you're going to be my bunkie? I said, yeah, but I had no choice to be at the top bunk. Well, I had a choice, but I would have been lumped up.
Right.
I still would have been there, but I would have been lumped up.
Yeah. It was always kind of considered really bad form if your bunkie was older than you, then you took the top bunk. You didn't make the old man climb up. That was one of those things. I don't know if this happened in the state, but this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but they sell bunks, right? Entire cells. Like they're in every unit in the feds, there's a certain number of white cells. And if you happen to be in one of those cells and you got a television shot, you got a straight shot of the TV, guys will say, you know what, $500 and me and my cellie will move out and you can have that cell. And then you can buy the TV shot or buy the particular cell for yourself.
Or you could have a TV in your cell.
Man, right along with your Christmas package there, spoiled.
Right.
Yeah, no,
I would buy cells. I would buy cells all the time if they were the farthest they could be from the guard shack.
Yep.
For tattooing, getting high, whatever, but mostly for tattooing.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense.
All the time.
Jiggers anyway, didn't you?
I spent $1,000 at Terre Haute for a cell, and yeah, I did it gladly.
Yeah. But that's also like a day's work for you. Had the easiest job in prison. Let's keep that.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
even
drug dealers look at the tattoo artists and be like, "You lazy." they're out running around on the yard and hustling, and people are bringing.
No, they come to me. Nobody would even ever want to even walk with me to chow, or like on the yard to go anywhere, because I get stopped everywhere. I mean, it happens on the street too. You can ask my wife. We go to Walmart or anywhere, and it's just nonstop. If we go to any recovery event, especially recovery events, like an AA whatever, or like a fundraiser, my wife gets mad, dude. She gets mad because it's it's like really some of our only time that we get to spend together, and it's just me talking about gift certificates that 2 years old and finishing this, or some people try to tell me their entire bodysuit idea, and I'm standing there with my wife and daughter trying to have fun, and it's
I remember that.
She'll comment on it.
No, I remember from being locked up. Like you literally couldn't walk the track with you. You go out to spin a few laps, and there's always some jackwagon that wants to come up and go, "Hey, I was kind of trying to get this skull that I wanted to get on my throat. I wanted to be coming out and pulling through." It's like,
yeah,
that's original.
All right, you hang out here. I'm going to keep walking.
I just seen it. Voice of the night.
Hold on 1 second here. Let's get back to this.
I got a quick story real quick.
Do it.
So my wife just told me to tell it.
Good.
So we were at the Restore, the Habitat for Humanity Restore.
Absolutely.
I go there all the time. I love it.
Yeah,
all the time.
I'm sitting there looking at staple gun, old nail guns that they got there, and this guy comes over to me and my wife, and he's like, "Are you Sam Yarbrough?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you remember me?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, hey." I had no idea who the dude was. I thought he was gonna, ask me about a tattoo or something. And yeah, the last time I seen you was in 1993 in Helena, Montana. And I was like, "Wait, what?" I'm trying to think, who is this dude? He goes, "Do you remember me?" I'm like, yeah. But in my head, I'm like, who the hell is this dude? He's like, "Man," he's like, "I heard your voice and I remembered your voice, man." He's like, "No one has a voice like yours." And my wife will contest to this in this chat. She said, he's like, "You have like the voice of an angel."
I was like, the songbird of my generation by a lot of people.
Yeah,
you were the
he said that, and he was straight. He was a straight cat. I mean, I'm assuming he was straight. You have the voice of an angel.
No question, man. No question.
Oh, yeah.
I fell asleep to it.
I got shit about that all the time.
Did you give him a kiss?
Do you want to hear something that's embarrassing?
I booked a whammer. What are you talking about?
just for a hustle, though.
Yeah.
I was in a cell with Casper, and I'm reading a book, and he goes, "Do you hold your breath when you read?" Right? And I mean, I'm pounding out a book a day, right? And I was like, "What?" He's like, "You hold your breath when you read." I'm like, "No, I don't. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life." And then I start reading. I'm like, "Holy crap! I hold my breath when I read." For real, it was one of the most embarrassing moments, and I had to train myself to breathe when I read. How embarrassing is that? Do you remember that?
Yeah, because you were turning blue, and I was like, "Man, do I gotta save this guy?"
No, you were on the bottom bunk. Just
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
No, but it was the funniest crap in the world, because I'm like, I gave you crap. I'm like, "What are you talking about, dude?" You're an idiot. I don't do that.
Quiet. It's because it's quiet in there, and so like when you're not reading, I hear you breathing. And then, but when you're reading, I kept having to check to make sure you were alive.
Yeah, I'm like 40 something, and I hold my breath when I read. It was a pretty embarrassing moment.
Tommy's on the floor. He's blue.
Yeah. What was he doing? Oh, he was reading Shanaram.
Yeah, take the butt, Louis
He was 2
L'Amour.
chapters in when he died. It was pretty sad. He did get 2 chapters though.
Yeah.
Hey, Ross, I think you probably ought to answer this one, don't you think? Is it true that you spoiled rascals in the state? Only do half your time if you're not screwing up?
When I was in, it was that way. Yes, it was day for day, but you know me, I couldn't do it that way. I had to do all my time.
Yeah,
because of
but day for day?
Yeah,
I've heard of these things, but I don't believe
it was day for day. I told you guys when you were at the Matheson trial, I texted that other guy and told him, I said, they're going to sentence him to 93 guidelines. And that's what it was, day for day.
Yeah.
And that's what they had to do. Yeah. You know?
Low light.
I forewarned them.
Yeah, you did.
Here in Montana, they only do a quarter of their time.
And I was, so why was I breaking the law in states? Well, I was breaking federal laws. I guess it didn't matter much. I should have been doing state crimes. That was stupid. 25%, man. That's crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? LA got so bad, right? They can't fit people in prisons anymore. So there are people doing 5-year rips in the county jail.
Or more. Yeah.
Man, you got to give somebody some kind of an incentive to do that much time in a county jail, because that's hell.
Well, so if your bail is under 15 grand, you don't have to go.
I know.
Jail. Yeah.
How about 85% of your time? So you do the math, and you were the first person to point this out too. I'm in the cell doing the math, and I'm like, so I'm going to be out. And Casper's like, the voice of the old man reason. No, you're not. He's reading in the corner. I'm talking to this kid. I'm like, no, I will. I just did the math, man. I'm like, and when you do that, he's like, you're not getting 50. What'd you come out with? 58 days? I'm like, yeah, you're not getting that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
no, it's like 53 days, 54 days, or something like that.
Yeah, 54 days. If you check
I don't know.
You know what they were doing to us? Here's how
they were ripping us.
So long.
Yeah.
The last year that you're in prison, you don't get good time. No matter what you do, you're not getting any good time, because you have to finish the year. So your good time doesn't matriculate until January 1. So if you were to do you get out on December 21st, you didn't get 1 day of good time for that last year. So when you take that and end up doing it in the math, it always knocks it down to almost exactly 54 days. Those low lives. They fixed it. They said it was a computer problem, but they finally fixed it. And they fixed it because
people got kicked out.
We started filing on it, man. Everybody started filing on it. I would have got kicked out, but I was already out before they did it.
Yeah.
Really?
One of those people.
So they went back to 50-50.
Oh, no, that would be nice. No, we still get 85. But you actually, what was happening was you were actually only doing 85%, because it used to be, they said you only got to do 85% of your sentence, and you were doing like 87% of your sentence, and they fixed it. Yeah.
Anything for money.
Yeah. For Sam, did you ever botch a tattoo on purpose because you dislike the person?
Alaskan Avenger.
Their idea of a tattoo?
That's a great question. The answer to that is absolutely.
I knew you were going to say that.
Nobody had a mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just once. And there's other things I would do. Like, I was working on this big Samoan dude, and he kind of soft punked me a little bit on something. I can't remember what it was. I was a kid, and he was like an OG. I hadn't made OG status yet. But so I figured the only way I could get this dude was to like do something with this back piece I was doing. So I was doing these bricks. And so I was like shading each brick differently. And I shaded the bricks to say my name. And so you could see it, but you couldn't see it.
Right. Yep.
And but man, as soon as his buddy seen it, he was like, "Hey man, that fool put his name on you." And like he hemmed me up in the cell. He's like, Uso, can you call me Uso? You know, Us, you put your name on me, Uso. I was like, "No, man, you're tripping. That's not my name." And dude's like, "No, that looks like your name, bro." I was like, "If I did, it's on accident. Each brick is shaded different." So he made me change. Yeah, he made me change it a little bit, and I didn't know any better. And so when I was and I haven't done it since I've been older, or like anything on purpose, because I'm more mature. But when I was younger, I would do crazy stuff, lots of penises, things like that.
Well, yeah. So this happened when I was at Terre Haute. the white boys had to get rid of one of their own, and they had to do it. They had to do it with locks and socks because this dude was blasting on other races, which is a bad idea anyway. But he was doing political things hidden in other races.
Yeah.
So what happened was a dude found, and the guy had done kind of like the thing on your neck with the spray. But the guy had a spray can that was spraying stuff out. And if you looked really carefully in that spray, he had done a Swazi, and the dude, they found it. And I mean, he put this on a black dude, man. And and so the black guys were like, well, we'll just break it off and kill everybody here, or you can take care of this guy and do it, and do it right. But that's just bad juju. The guy that did me. So I got this Alice in Wonderland sleeve. It's a great sleeve, dude. I love everything about it. But he was doing the Tolji wood, right? So there's a big tree on the back of my arm. And the signs on the back of that tree, dude, I don't think he liked me much. I mean, it was on the front. Like I told him everything to put on it, and he put it all on there. But on the back, it says tar. One of the signs says tar, like it's pointing to tar. One says black, pointing to black. It's like all heroin references and things. I mean, he was all smacked out while he was doing it. So
was it all under a plane?
Yeah. But that's you're getting a tattoo in prison. You're pretty lucky if it comes out with a good one. But I've seen some terrible, just horror stories, dude. You probably remember that dude Spoon. Do you remember Spoon? We called him scratch paper, man. He had tattoos on both shoulder blades with the panhandles facing each other. I said to him, what the hell are you doing, dude? And he's like, well, it looks symmetrical. I was like, yes, it does. You nailed that.
Like the
humanity of it all.
Your ink, it's over then.
Get that ink set. That's what I told Casper that the other day. He's like, getting ready to do a tattoo. I said, well, make sure you set that ink, man. For those that don't know, they do that in prison. The old timers will come up and they'll go, oh, did you guys have your first tattoo, youngster? Did they set the ink? And you go, no, what do you mean? You're all tripped out. You don't want it running all over you or something. How do you set it? I got this. And they just slap you as hard as they can on the tattoo.
Right on the tattoo.
Yeah. It's always good for a good one. Or the guys that say to you, what'll take all the sting out of that is if you put just a little bit of icy hot on it. Pitch of icy hot on that new tat. I'll tell you something. The tattoo never looks better than the day it was done.
Oh yeah.
When it's red all around it and like inflamed and angry, I think that's when the tat always looks the coolest.
Yep.
Yeah, it always looks really cool that way.
Doesn't it? I'm pretty sure I saw Elon posted on X about overhauling the prison system, teaching convicts jobs to be successful on the outside. Good Lord, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
CDCRs. They've had that idea for 30 years.
The businesses that hire
Department of Rehabilitation.
You could get
CDC.
the first year you hire a convict, or the first 2 years you hire a convict, you don't pay tax. They will let you go tax free on them. It makes so much sense to hire them, and if they had skills, they'd be all over it.
Yeah, they teach you that at the halfway house. They'll give you all these things that you can tell your employer, the benefits of hiring you, the tax exemption. Yeah, they give you like a whole sheet of things that you can, if it's hard to find a job, it's not hard to find a job being a convict. It's pretty easy.
Well, you know what? The people that say it's impossible, that it's really hard, there are people that quit after the third person says we don't hire convicts.
Right.
And you're going to get that. There are going to be people that aren't going to hire you because you're a convict. But if you stop after the third person says we don't do it, and you go, nobody hires.
That's what it is. I shouldn't say easy because it's definitely not easy, but.
Oh yeah, you never get your own cell, but it would be a great idea. It really would. I have argued a bunch of times that if they did that, if they gave people the opportunity to move into your own cell where you didn't have to live with somebody, it would give you a reason to actually try to do well, or to go out and program, or to get your GED, or to do any of those things. But as it is now, if I'm in the cell and I'm going to work every single day, and then I'm taking courses to get my college degree, I'm getting the same good time as my cellmate who's running the poker table, right? Doing dope, getting high every day. We're getting the same good time. It's not a great system. It needs to be overhauled, I think.
Definitely.
Did you guys watch the Netflix show about Arkansas jail called Unlocked?
Yes, I have some shit to say about that.
thoughts. Good. You can lead it off.
Yeah. So my wife and I caught that. I watched a few episodes. We watched a few episodes. Here's the deal. Like I called everything that was happening on that show with the way the dudes were like their get down, like how they were acting, and everyone was trying to be a shot caller, like the black dudes were trying to like be the pod boss, and I could tell like that dude has no heart. This dude has heart. You can tell he's being quiet. I called everything, and my wife was like, "Man, you're like a magician, or whatever."
No,
but yeah, and so it was enjoyable that way. And man, it made me just be so grateful that I'm not in jail or a county jail, because those dudes they all suck, man. It was terrible. It was terrible. But
conditions in there are really bad too. I mean, that's not. I'll tell you now, that's not the normal county jail. It really isn't. Those things were off the hook.
Yeah,
some of those shows are just horrific. What's the other one? 90 Days In. Some of those where. Did you ever watch 90 Days In?
Oh yeah, or 60 Days, or whatever it was. Yeah,
maybe it was 60 Days In. Well, the guy that ran that just got
the citizens in to like mingle, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's he's from the show. He's from the show." But
I was in do that.
Some of those dudes got really scared though.
Put a real convict to see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of them they did, and a couple of them they threw a real convict in there, and things get ugly. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I don't mean the person that they send inside. I've never actually seen them send anybody wildly hard in there. But that person will come across a real convict, and it's never good. But there was a dude that was scared as hell, and he walks. Their code word to get out or whatever was, "Hey, I think I'm having an asthma attack." Was the code for this particular show. And they're watching it in Pahrump. It was the premiere of it. And that night we're playing cards, and this guy's the pile's like this big with chips and everything in there, and I was like, "Bro, what do you got?" And he goes, "I called you." So I laid my cards over, and as the cop's walking by, he goes, "I think I'm having an asthma attack." Dude, everybody was on the floor. I'm like, "I'm guessing you don't have it."
I like in the first couple seasons, like the way to get out of there was to like
like big stretch.
The one dude was about to get his ass kicked too, and he was just like in front of everyone.
Like, what's he doing? What's this guy, Rocky Balboa? What the hell's he doing?
Yeah. And what's crazy, the producers of the show don't get involved. They just kind of let it roll. But because the producer could have said, "Hey, man, the guy's giving the signal," or whatever. I don't know, or I don't know, man. It's just funny,
right?
man.
Hey, are you watching this? I need some coffee. 2 creams, 2 creams, no sugar. Oh, guys down too. We're getting the stretch. Yeah, that's funny as hell, dude.
Yeah.
I watch, I'll be honest, man, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I actually watch prison documentaries. I watch them a lot. I use it as a sobriety tool. I'm not even joking. I start getting real comfortable. I start feeling really good about life, and things are going good or whatever. I usually like to throw it on.
Yeah.
Watch a couple of really gnarly episodes of Locked Up, and just feel like, oh God.
It's just like going to an AA meeting, and the newcomers. That's why I love the newcomer. The newcomer at the meeting, man, really, especially if they get to share and not just say, "Hey, I'm in my first week" or whatever. And if they get to share and just to tell how like where they're at their bottom, man, it's. I always make sure I go shake their hand and like, "Man, thank you for coming today." And because I'm almost going to start crying right now, but it like really reminds you of where not to go and not to be. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional over that right now.
It makes perfect sense to me, man.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. I want to bust out in Kumbaya an awful lot when you talk about things like sobriety and not going back, man. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I taught a class at it wasn't a class, it was a sobriety meeting, but I started doing it on the yard, and I did it because Q said to me, "When you get where you're going, if you don't start a meeting or do something to keep doing what you're doing. And if you don't start it the first day you get there, you ain't going to do it. And
yeah,
I went in there riding dirty. I mean, I did. I wasn't doing anything, but I had I may have keistered a few strips of cigars, but it was purely for financial reasons. I wasn't doing that stuff. I really wasn't. It didn't, but it hit while I was there, and I had an opportunity. It was $400 a strip for that stuff. And I brought
Back to the hoop.
Yeah.
The only thing I can see was when they do that, like 60 days in or 90 days in, is I can equate it to when I came down for my case. I caught an outside beef while I was in. Go figure. And they bring you down to the county jail so you can go to court. And when I walk in there, and I've got 6 years, I had almost 7 years in, and I really didn't have any tattoos or anything like that. So I guess they just thought I was somebody that, you know, they could do that to. And I went to the store, got a honey bun, and was sitting on my bunk in an open dorm, but I had my lock in my hand. And I guess this guy didn't see it because I was holding the honey bun over it. And, you know, like I was like this. It was one hand out, and he reached out and grabbed my honey bun. And before he could bring it back to his mouth, I hit him with the lock, dead in his grill, and knocked out about 4 teeth.
Oh,
yeah.
That was that. You know? Yeah. Tink, 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 tink.
Did you say chiclets?
Chiclets, yeah.
Oh yeah. Where's this from? Chicle, chicle,
Yeah.
chicle, chicle. In Mexico, chicle, chicle, chicle.
Funny
They're like-
story. I'm sorry. When you first go there, if you've never been into Mexico, there are kids that want to sell you chiclets
Right.
as soon as you get there.
Yep.
And I remember my first wife. We used to go across the border all the time, and we lived in Mexico. I mean, we lived in Texas, and we were close. We used to go to Nuevo Laredo. And I remember the first time I said to her, "Listen, you kind of got to be a dick. You know, you kind of got to go, hey, back up, man. Seriously, leave me alone." I'm like, because, you know, if you give one, honest to God, you're not going to be, they're going to follow you everywhere you go the entire time you're there. And she's a sweet girl. My first wife, you know, Spanky's mom's just a real sweet woman. And she went across about like 4 of them. And by the third trip down there, like we'd walk across that footbridge and she'd be going, "Get away, back off." It was just like, it changes you up after a couple visits. It used to make me laugh. I'd give her hell about it. I'd look over and go, "Oh, you are just not very kind, Cruella."
Right.
You know, when you're bald and you got a goatee, all you got to do is sort of stare at them, and they'll usually walk away anyway.
Yeah.
What about?
I always had pockets full of
about
gum.
the prison and how they are being treated? Like Christy's daughter is doing. They closed the one that her dad was in Florida. That's awesome. And people have been successful in things like this. But sometimes it depends. Like in the feds give you the big middle finger. Casper was there. My family was writing about the cockroaches every day. My family, because I would write home every day, and I'd be like, you know, I was telling my wife, I said, and I'm not exaggerating. She's like there, you can see cockroaches, a couple of them. I'm like, there's 400,000 of them in the cell. I'm like, a couple of them. You can hear them.
Yeah.
Like you would just hear them nonstop. Chickening
You'd
sound.
feel them. You just be like, damn, man.
I'm talking about this is the scariest place on earth. So the warden comes by on a Wednesday, and I says to him, I said, my family is the one that wrote to you. I'm like, about the cockroaches and all that. He goes, "Oh no, we spray here. There are no cockroaches." And he walked away. I was like, that was it? That's what just happened? So I got two shampoo bottles, clear ones, took the labels off, all that. And I took a toilet paper roll, cut it down the middle with a razor blade, and twisted it up so they could go from one side to the other. And I filled it. There had to be 600 of them in there, right? We just, every time we saw one, we'd catch it, put it inside this thing. So when he came back the next Wednesday, I said, "Hey, boss," knocked on the window, big, heavy set black dude. And he came over and I said, "Hey, about those cockroaches." He goes, "We spray for those." I go, hold up. And he goes, "What, man?" And I held this thing up and I was like, "You spray for these?" I'm like, "These are all alive, bro. None of these are dead."
Yeah.
Like, I got these. How many do you think you're not seeing? And he goes, "We're going to get that taken care of." And they didn't do squat. It was at least 3 months before Casper went ape
Lost
on
it.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost. And if he didn't, they'd still, I guarantee you, it's still disgusting. I mean, it is. Oh, you could hear them. They'd crawl. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. But I love it whenever somebody pulls something like that off, because that's a very big deal. It really is. I want to know how mental health is treated. I always thought that someone should be separate. Yeah. For places with people with no mental health problems. The trouble with that as an idea is that everybody in there has mental health problems. I'm not exaggerating. Did you ever know anybody in there that didn't have a mental illness?
Me.
What?
I had mental illness.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was medicated. Everybody I knew in there was on something, being medicated for something. It's just, there's not a lot they do. They try to keep you medicated if there's something that they can give you, and if you're willing to go down and talk to a therapist, they'll get you in once a week.
But they only give you what they think you need, and not what you actually need, because you can't have a narcotic in there.
Yeah, they're not going to give you. They're not going to. The things that they're going to give you are going to be very limited in scope.
Trazodone is it. They'll up you to 150, 175.
Yeah, they'll give you trazodone.
Yeah,
they'll give you trazodone to knock you out in the feds. That's or Elavil.
Elavil.
That's strong, dude.
Thorazine shots.
Thorazine. I always felt really bad for the people that took Thorazine. I really did. You get that tardikinesia, I think is what they call it.
Be standing in the corner.
Yeah.
You do the Thorazine shuffle. You start looking like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but that's a real thing. If they keep inmates on it too long and they shuffle. We had a dude. He was in the state of Nevada. He was the first student ever convicted for a school shooting, and they called him Aflac because it was the only word he would say out loud. He was like 60, and he would shuffle to the chow hall, and he would take 5 steps and stop. And then he would take 5 steps and stop. It would take him like 25 minutes to get to the chow hall. And then you'd walk by, or the other word was ducky. We'd go, "Hey, Black, how you doing?" Ducky. And then he would take 5 steps, but his arms would do this from the whole time. I was like, God help us, man. He was not doing well. Mental health patients are not treated well.
They're not a priority.
No.
And if they're a JCAT, I mean, in order to really get separated and be kept from the other people in California, they'd call it Category J. And around the rest of the country, the inmates call it a JCAT. But that's the kind of people that start to, not shower, skip eating, start doing arts and crafts.
Yeah, with feces.
Some painting on the wall, or maybe making some chess pieces.
Oh my God! Yeah, I was
JCats usually play with their poop.
Yeah,
that's a rugged thing to say out loud to be serious. But hey, I got a job. When I first got to a yard, and they said to me, they're paying like $20. Right, you get $20 every time you got to go down and work. You clean up blood and stuff after fights. I'm in. And the first place I got called to was the place they called Pizza Hut. Because every other building looked exactly like a normal prison block. And then we had one place that had a roof on it like a Pizza Hut, except it was blue. And that's where they kept the mental patients. And they called it Pizza Hut. And I got called over there to do a cleanup. And this guy had made an entire chest set of
Oh my God.
He had also mixed feces and mustard, had painted this masterpiece on the wall.
Oh my
God, dude.
And I quit. Have a good day. I am not doing that. And the guy goes, "Oh, you can't quit in the middle of a shift. We'll take you to the hole." I said, "Knock yourself out. I am more than happy to go to the hole."
Sharks and crabs.
Yeah, my stuff is up right there in the cell. Go pack it.
Oh, that's bad. That really is. Elavil is useless for many. I was on 150 milligrams and it did nothing for the nerve pain. Well, I'll be damned. That's a lot too. You know what really bummed me out? Hey, Cricket. You know what really bummed me out about Elavil was that we had the silent night. You guys know what that is? You get this little piece of plastic that looks like a condom, and they put your pills in it, and then they put it in the machine and they crush them. And they hand you the sleeve, right? The device called Silent Night, Silent Crusher, or whatever, and it says Silent Night on the sleeve. And then you got to put it back in front of them, and then drink a thing of water. And Elavil will mess your mouth up for an hour and a half if you take it crushed. Like it numbs you out, and it makes you gag. They give it to you on the way to dinner.
Yeah,
it's a way to keep guys from taking their meds. It's a plan to keep you from, so that they don't have to deal with you, because you can't enjoy dinner. It's like I got a choice. I could go to sleep or I could enjoy my dinner, but I couldn't do two in the same day ever. But it worked well for me. I used it only when I first quit, and they gave it to me because I couldn't sleep. I mean, months went by, and I'd be the dude in the chow hall going like this. It's like slapping bugs, doing things out of the air that weren't there. And I mean, not for effect, because they would come up and be like, "Hey, come here." I mean, you need to go down to medical, and we need to talk to you about getting you on something for sleep. Because
right.
You would start seeing stuff.
Oh,
God, I don't miss that at all, man.
Yeah, I don't miss feeling sorry for people. Because I spent a lot of time in prison looking around and just going, "Oh, that's so sad. Oh, that's so friggin' sad. Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a terrible feeling. No one enjoys that." Anyone know if trans dudes actually are making it into the women's prisons?
One did.
Well, it is possible to do this in the feds if you cut off your Johnson, but you will not be going into a woman's prison if you still have your male equipment. You got to go the full Monty or the full anti-Monty.
Yeah, full anti-Monty. Yeah. Bizarro world, Monty.
You're going in. They will not let you go in there if you have a penis. Now, there are state facilities that have allowed this to happen, and shocker, people got pregnant.
Yeah. And girls getting R-worded. They're getting R'd, and
Take a criminal with a penis and put him in a woman's prison. What could possibly go wrong?
6'2", 250-pound man.
Yeah. The feds have kind of got it figured out. They'll pay for you to be on those pills the whole time you're in there if you want to be. Then they will sell you bras and on commissary and lipstick and the rest of it. But if you think you're going to get out of that prison and go into a woman's prison, you're going to do it without your penis. You talk about all in. That's your all in moment right there, boy. I want out of here. How bad do you want out of here?
At least nowadays it'll be that way.
All right, get rid of it. And I'll say this, and it's not going to be popular, but I'm going to say it. I was only at one place in the feds where it was wide open for trannies. And I'll tell you what, I'll bet you Black Canyon is now, because everything is kind of changing. But when we were there wasn't anybody at Black Canyon like that. But it's becoming an epidemic because guys who go in with paperwork that's awful, right, make a decision that they'd rather change their gender, because no one's ever going to ask for your paperwork. No one's ever going to try to look you up because it's a hate crime if they do anything to you.
Yeah.
A lot of people make the decision to do that. I mean, and that's just a decision that they go with. But the yard I was on, every single trans person that we had on that yard had foul paperwork. Every single person.
Yeah, I was only on one yard with a lot of transes, and they were drama, bro. I mean, it was
horrible.
And some of them are tough, man. Like they fight, they know how to fight. I seen this one Puerto Rican trans down in Florida. I mean, this dude could fight, or she could fight, or whatever. She could fight, man. And she would put it on her boyfriends all the time. I mean, it's like, and then be like, now what? You just got beat up by a girl,
Got it handed to you by the local punk. You got to change your name to another.
I knew one like that too, but
she was enjoyable to watch fight. Yeah. I love watching her fight.
Hair down to his back, and he was a big boy. I mean, but he was definitely Kool-Aid on the eyebrows and lips, and
he was doing it.
But he was a Gold Glove boxer, and man,
hey, don't get this.
So we didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I knew a guy in the state joint named Gay Jason. I've told the story. He will light you up like the 4th of July. And when I said to him, I said, no disrespect at all. I just can't believe how well you fight. Like I'm not trying to. And he's like, why? Because I'm gay? And I'm like, kind of. I didn't really think you'd be a big fighter. And he's like, bro,
you got nails.
I was 7. He's like, I was playing with Barbies and putting on pumps. He's like, how many fist fights do you think I got into?
Yeah.
That makes a hell of a lot of sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's like, I fought everybody my entire youth. And he had no problem. He'd put hands on you quicker than, and he would do it without his heels touching the ground. He'd walk on his toes at all times, and he would smack the crap out of a dude without his heels touching the ground. I'm sorry, I find that funny. You could easily get yourself beat up by a trans person, and that is an embarrassment in a men's prison. But I watched 2 trans people beat the crap out of themselves in Sheridan, and we were just sitting around with coffee, like everyone was there. It was like front row seats. People were like, "Oh hell yeah, chick fight in a man's prison. You can't beat
on
this."
the yard. I don't know about the state, but on the yard, did they have the little cubicles, the knee walls where all the toilets were on the yard?
Yes.
Okay. Well, and I'm sure in Vacaville they had it too.
Yeah, all of those facilities outside, you've got the whole commode.
When 4 toilets outside.
Commode.
No, we only got even in Vac, you're going to have one toilet. It's just one.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying toilet, old man. Yeah. Just say shitter. I mean, it's YouTube, man. We can swear a little bit.
Yeah, I should probably say shitter.
But going to the bathroom out there while they're doing laps is kind of embarrassing because they'll go sit there by the, and smile and giggle and whisper in each other's ear while you're standing there taking a leak. You gotta tell them, "Hey man, pop the clutch." It rocks.
Yeah, pop a clutch, dude. I used to say pop a clutch all the time, man. I haven't said that in so long. We should make a book.
Keep rolling.
Hit the ring.
Pop a clutch.
Get on.
Yeah, shitter's full.
That's great. We had one trans person. I told the story, man, but we had one trans person on the yard that looked the part. Normally, what you see is somebody that looks a lot like me, but they're starting to grow some chest and they're losing some boobs, but they don't look like women. And then every once in a while, there will be one like this girl that already had her chest done. I never made sense to me that she was on a yard. But the first time she walked on, I said to a guy, "I can't believe they're letting her wear khaki." He's like, "That's me." I said, "Oh, hell no." But the drama that came out of that, you have no idea. That trans man, woman, whatever you want to call the person, I call her, but she caused more fistfights in that prison. Honestly, they ended up shipping her out without a write-up because she was never fighting, but there was always 2 people fighting about weird stuff, man.
Yeah,
that's the thing. When I went in, everybody got sent that was like that to Vacaville.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We so those ads that you see, KP, that you skip and that you don't watch. That's how we get paid. We get paid because of a company called AdSense. It's advertising revenue is really what we're getting paid on. So what you want to get, if you're making money, it's because you're getting views. The more views we get, the more money that we get.
Yep, for every 1,000 views.
Yeah, thumbs up gets more engagement, and all of those things. But and the memberships were put in there because YouTube figured out that nobody was ever going to make it as a YouTuber because you have to sort of have a bridge. So they came up with the super chat, and they came up with all of these other ways that content creator could get some help in the beginning, in the early days, as the views grow. And then ideally you get to a point where you're doing 150,000 views a day. And, then you don't have to worry about any of the other streams because that will be enough to sustain you as a full-time YouTuber kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. But
it's beautiful. I think it's a great system, man. Because
it really is.
Everyone, the viewer can watch for free. What I mean? It's just on us to put out good content, that the viewers want to see. We either do or we don't. And it's, or you know what I mean? They, I love it, man. And cause it keeps me wanting just to be the best content creator I can be. And,
it's the reason that we have experts on things on YouTube. I mean, honestly, that's what it comes down to. The reason that there are experts is because they're going to spend as much time as they have to deep dive a subject matter so that they can put out a product that's going to keep people watching. If you don't reward the people that create good content, then you're not going to have anybody that goes out of their way to edit well, or goes out of their way to research the crap out of things and bring it to you as fast as they can.
Yeah. And it gives you guys the power. It gives them, the viewer, the power to
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it, man. As a YouTuber and as a YouTube watcher, I only watch YouTube. And except for documentaries, I watch some documentaries on Netflix or Hulu too, but I don't watch anything that's really, it drives my wife nuts, really.
I only do YouTube. That's where
I think the background you have right here would be good if we were all together to do a show and,
I agree.
you know,
Yeah.
barbed wire fence, a guard standing outside, Johnny standing outside with a guard outfit on.
I love it. I absolutely love it. You know what? Johnny spent a lot of time in county jails. Johnny dodged bullets, man. He really did.
We should
It's
get
amazing.
striped uniforms, jumpsuits.
This is crazy. This is one of the funniest things in the world to me. But while you have to do a long time in MDC Brooklyn before you go to prison, right? Well, at the version of MDC Brooklyn I was there for 14 months the first time and like 16 the second. You're there a long time. I watched 3 different people while I was there get arrested for trying to steal the clothing that they were wearing to go home with. So like when they went in there and said, all right, you change out, they pulled the pants up as high as they could and pulled sweatpants over them. And then they put their sweatshirts or whatever over the stripes that they were wearing and get arrested for it and get brought back in. You just look at them and go, I've seen a lot of dumb things in my life.
Yeah,
right?
Dude.
That takes the cake.
Yeah.
Now, though, I kind of do want one. But I figure I'll just look up Bob Barker and start buying them. Right? Yeah. Why can't I buy them from Bob Barker? He makes them for everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
What is something you couldn't live without inside? What a great question. Who asked
yeah, that's a great question.
Jennifer Minton, that's a hell of a question, man. That really is.
What's something you couldn't
you're forced to live without,
in prison? Man, what could I not live without in prison? That's a great question, and I want to answer that. So I'm gonna ponder it while Tommy gives his answer.
I can fire that up. I'll do it this way. The first 2 times that I was down, right? The first 2 times that I fell, I couldn't do without tar heroin. That's what I could not do without inside. The third time, I would say books. I would not have made it if I didn't read.
I think that's my answer, man. Books. If I didn't have books, Yep.
That's one of the reasons I think that you and I probably did such easy time together. If you get a cellmate that doesn't read and you're in a 24-hour lockdown, that fool wants to talk to you for 14 hours a day.
Man,
I'm a person insane. But Casper and I would get on our books and spend 6 hours reading, and then we would tell stories and laugh for 5 or 6 hours, and then get up the next day.
It was great, man.
It really was. We did some soft time. We had a good time.
Yeah, man. It was great.
A couple of batches of wine. Oh, I thought of a story that's going to crack you up. The counselor comes up to the door. We're burping a bag of wine. Right?
Yeah.
Woman counselor. And I'm not being rude. We're just going to keep the story real. This woman was the most flat-chested woman on earth. And I only say that because she then went and bought like a 36D cup. And if you do this in a prison, the fellas are going to talk about this, right?
Oh, yeah.
So her nickname always had something to do with a woman's body part. Everybody said something different, tatas, whatever, but everybody had a nickname for her. And I'm helping burp this out, and it stinks the whole room up like alcohol. You can't believe how bad it smells. And while we're doing this, I got someone at the door watching, right? And the guy goes just like this. He's at the window, and he goes, "Fitz is at the window." I look up and the woman's face is right here, and I'm holding this bag, right? So Casper slides so that the woman doesn't see us, and she goes, "Ooh, did you just burp that? My God, that stinks." She's like, "I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not. What did you guys make it out of? Because I could smell it. Holy hell, what is that?" And I'm like, "Screw you. We're getting rid of this, dude. I don't care whether she's cool or not. She's going to be back up here in a couple of minutes." And of course, Casper in his wisdom said, "All right, let's see how fast we can drink this."
Yeah.
We did. We were down entire chunks of bug and fruit, and we were all just, it's terrible.
Oh,
dude, I remember that, dude, because I got the shits later, dude. I don't care.
I look out like this. Chicks is at the window. I was like, dude, the idea is you tell us that when she's 60 feet down the hall, bro.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're not good.
Good times.
Good times.
Yeah, right.
You know what's funny? My favorite Casper story of all time in prison, Sam's story, I'm sorry. My favorite
Casper's good.
My favorite story of you in prison, I can't tell on here. And the thing is, everybody would laugh. Everybody would laugh. It's hysterically funny, but there's just no way to tell it. I'll tell it to you afterwards, Casper, and I'll say to you, you're a creative cat. How can we tell this story?
Okay. We can always do it like not Patreon, because people would have to pay for it. I don't want people to pay for a story, but yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
We can tell it. It's just that, you know what, we live in a world these days where people are a little politically correct, and nothing that happens in prison is politically correct. I mean, there is not a woke individual in prison. Not really that kind of place. You've got a lot of toxic masculinity and a lot of Cro-Magnon kind of thinking. Violence out the wazoo. Our boy smacked out four teeth with a lock because a man touched his honey bun. And that's prison. You let somebody touch your honey bun, as stupid as it sounds, right? You let somebody do that to you. Do you know what the next thing is? They're going to go in and just go, hey, I like your radio, I'm taking this. Hey, I like your tobacco, I'm taking this. And they will keep pushing. It's a great lesson in life for boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
In prison, you set boundaries and you got to stick with it.
That's the thing, Tommy. I was if you walk into like in Orange County, they got branch jails. They got Theo Lacey, and they've got downtown Santa Ana, and they shipped me to see Theo Lacey. Yeah, and then Theo Lacey, you walk in, and right there's a cubicle, and that's where I was. And a bald guy walked in, white guy, and I had stored. I sat down, didn't even make my bed. And I opened a honey bun. He walked over, and I guess he didn't know who I was. I'd already been in,
You didn't know who I was?
He didn't. He didn't.
Yeah. He found out, though.
He found out that lock in my hand. And I hit him like 4 times. And he was having problems sucking up any kind of food after that for about 3 weeks.
Until they got in there and got him a plate. He wasn't doing too well. Soup was the on the bright side. There was ramens everywhere.
Yep, and he was drinking it out of a pork rinds bag.
I got a funny one, man. I was watching, so I watched some of those court, people getting sentenced, and I watch parole hearings, and I watch all of these. And there's a kid going in to get sentenced in front of this judge, and I swear to you, the judge goes, "Okay, we're going off record." And they said, "Okay." She goes, "Son, they are going to pass you around for a Roman noodle in there." She's like, "I'm telling you right now." She's like, "You think I'm kidding? You ain't big enough, son. They are going to pass you around for candy, cigarettes, or a ramen noodle."
I saw that one. Was that black judge?
Black judge. I'm going, hell yes.
What? I bet you it was Stephanie Boyd. I bet you it was Judge Boyd.
It was
Judge Boyd, yeah.
Yeah, it was Judge Boyd. She's a
I have a whole playlist of her stuff on my channel. She's really good.
You gotta start playing some of those, man. Those are
trust me, the morning show, I got all kinds of stuff lined up. Yep. For the week,
great.
you know what I mean? Not all in one day, but yeah.
Yeah, that is some of the funniest crap in the whole world.
Right.
No, KP, you know what? This is actually a fairly healthy thing, I think. Thanks for taking time to answer our questions. A lot of channels don't bother with stuff like that. Well, you know what they do if you put a fat super chat on it, and I gotta balance out all that grifter life. You know what I mean? The number of videos out there that have claimed that I come on here and tell people that they have to give me super chats is kind of amazing. And I mean, I've only said it like 40 or 50 times. No, I've never actually brought that up once, but I get a kick out of it. Warden Fissel, good to see you, man. No, it's fun. You know what? If you try to create content by actually sitting and having a conversation with 3 friends about a part of your life that you've left behind that still is, no matter what happens, this will leave
part of your life.
Very serious mark on your life forever.
Yeah.
Nobody that does time actually gives away that experience. It's not something that can happen. You do that forever. And I ran from it for a really long time. Like it was, you get out and you go, "Oh God, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it." But I think it's fairly healthy. And I think it brings up conversations and gets people to discuss things like prison reform, which isn't such a bad thing because, we have a really jacked up system. And that show that you saw about Arkansas is a pretty decent indication of stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think there is another show on YouTube really that's quite like ours. I've seen a couple of guys try to do like prison talk, but they're trying to be too hard for the yard. You know what I mean?
Right.
I seen this one and it never took off. There's like the shows I seen were like 4 years old and they're not even around anymore. But they were just like sitting on this beat up old couch, be like, "Yeah, homie, you remember the time I got?" And the two white dudes, you know, "Man, homie, you remember the time, man? Me and old, Buster Poindexter went over there and did, but." And I'm just like looking at them. I think I even sent you the link, Tommy. I was like, "Check these dudes out. What are these dudes doing?" And but it wasn't authentic, you know what I mean? And I love our little thing that we're doing here on Sunday nights, man. It's
no, we're not trying to scare anybody straight. A lot of these channels, they would lead you to believe that every single minute of every single day there's a fist fight going on, there's somebody getting stabbed, right? That's all that takes place. And the truth is you play a lot of cards, you hang out getting high, you hang out with dudes like you would on the street, except there's no chicks around, and you got to make all of your own booze. But it's very similar in a lot of ways to like a freshman year in college kind of stupidity with a lot more violent idiots. And I've always said it's boredom, terror. And it's the waiting for the terror to pop up. And it doesn't even have to be you. It's just, it could be the dude, when you're laying there at night, just like getting ready to, and you can hear like a head thumping against a wall and someone just jagging, and you're going, "Oh man," your adrenaline starts getting it. Your vagus nerve turns on, and it's 19 cells down. You don't even know what's happening.
Yeah, but you feel it. You feel it within. Yeah.
All that memory comes flooding back. I mean, you always got to be aware of an old man and a young man's game. Don't get me wrong, because we're not going to do what they're going to do. We're going to do it a whole lot different.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah.
I'll tell you. You remember when the bus would come in? You'd be like a Tuesday afternoon. They'd bring 6 guys in your unit. They'd all be under the age of 25, and the whole room's going, "Oh shit!"
You're right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Idiots.
And then you just have to just accept, man, it's going to be entertaining. It's, you know what I mean? At least they're there for the entertainment purposes.
Yeah. That's what the best place in the world for that was Victorville, because the average person that comes into Victorville is gone in a month. I'm being honest. Very few people make it a month, because they run that like a machine. You come in the front door and a person rolls up on you and goes, "You want to get high?" Like, you're not there 2 minutes. They're going to get you as much dope as they can get you. They're going to take you to 14 dealers that are willing to give you $300 credit. Once they maxed out your credit card, they're going to smash you off the yard and wait for the next dude.
Yep.
Terrible, man. Kill Whitey.
Yep. Kill Whitey. That I just always remember getting to a new place and being in R&D, and I would start to gag because I know how wide open it is. You get that just that anticipation that I know I'm only minutes away from getting a fix. Yeah. And it was because trust. Like, I never worried about, like, I was dumbfounded when I got to Black Canyon. I got dropped in there with a little NL. Yeah. I got dropped in a cell with an NLR dude. What was that cat's name? He was from Wyoming, actually. He had been to CYA, but he was from Wyoming. His name was Trigger, maybe little short white dude, NLR dude. Yeah. I got pictures of him. I need to share my Black Canyon pictures one of these Sundays.
I got some too, actually. I got some.
Yeah. But old Trigger, man. They dropped me and him in a cell, and I was like, he's like, "Yeah, I'm a low rider." I was like, "Oh man, I'm a rider too, man." We just started chopping it up, and I was like, yeah, I was just waiting for him to pull it out, and he never pulled it out. I was like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Oh man, there ain't nothing here." He's like, "But I got some Welbies," and I was like, "Come on, dude."
Hey, I got it worse than that. I hit
Miss me with that.
No, I hit Black Canyon, and a guy named Mick. I don't know if you remember Mick Lee, white dude.
Oh yeah.
Huge feet like this big. Mick Lee comes up and he goes, "Hey, you just hitting the yard?" I go, "Just got here, bro." And he goes, "You looking to get high?" And I go, I am. And he goes, I can get you a dub. Well, where I come from, that's a 20 sack, right? I'm like, you can get a dub? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, how much? And he's like, give me a flat book. I'm like, bro, look it. Go get me like 15.
Yeah.
What are we talking about, dude? And then he brings these in there and pills. I'm like, what is this, dude? And he's like, Wellbutrin.
Oh my God.
I'm like, bro, I take this stuff. Like, I swallow these every morning. Why am I buying these? For how much money? What the hell's the matter with you? He's like, you snort them. I'm like, no, trust me, I don't. That only took one try. Like, you go, oh my God. It felt like you harked back on the broken glass. It was
Yeah. Oh, triggered. He talked me into doing one because I don't know. I'm not a junk bomb like that.
Too, because that's we're idiots. We did.
Yeah, and it just made my whole face burn. I'm like, dudes are checking in.
You can't
over these Wellbutrins.
Oh, there was a bunch of people checking in, dude. You know how much money those idiots were making? These guys were selling these things for 2 and 3 flat books a piece, and they're giving 4 of them a day for free from the government. I mean, they were killing it.
Yeah.
And on Saturdays, everybody goes to get their pills 1 unit at a time. But on Saturday, they just start a pill line, and the pill line is 2 miles long.
Right.
It used to go from where the medical was, on the left down by Pima. It would go all the way out to Navajo 1 unit. Right. I step out my door and be like, "You're kidding." Like, this is the line.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Was getting Wellbutrin. They're all going down there. And then finally,
you gotta understand, that's like longer than a football field. Yeah.
Literally longer than a
halfway around the track.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you'd have 20 junkies standing outside shaking, right? Looking like Pookie from New Jack City, waiting for somebody to drop a couple of Welbies in their hand that they just got it in. Oh my God. 3 people caught a day for cheeking them. I saw that. You didn't swallow that. God help us.
Yeah.
Well, putrid.
Good old days.
James,
here's a question.
Go ahead. What's the question?
Go ahead. Just when you get out of prison, do they make you go to a halfway house, or can you be released to family?
That's a good question.
I think you can do either, really, in the feds. You can deny halfway house and get released to family, and they do have you can do house arrest if you have a good case manager, and or you can get to the halfway house and just do 30 days. And once you get a job, you can go on house arrest, and that's usually with family.
As long as your house is within 60 miles of the halfway house, you have to go back once a week. So this is crazy, right? I lived in Nevada, and there's not a halfway house in the state other than Vegas. But proximity, I was closer living in northern Nevada to San Francisco and Oakland than I was to Las Vegas. So I got sent to Oakland for halfway house. And when I found out I was going to California, I said, nope, I don't want it. You can keep it and I'll just kill the paper and stay in here. And they went, not an option. You've been granted, you're going. That was it. Like I honestly was given no choice whatsoever. And I said, you could refuse this. Like, I knew the people that did it last time, and they said, not anymore. But I think it was because of the face diapers. I was in there during that.
Yeah.
They were running us out of there, and I had to go to Oakland. And I went to Oakland literally 14 days after the riots.
Man.
Oh, wow.
White boy, one of 5 white boys in an all-black halfway house in Oakland after the riots. And you know what? They were the coolest dudes. I didn't know. There was not one harsh word. Everybody was free and out of prison. Nobody cared.
Yeah, I was at SeaTac with some Oakland Bloods, and that were from these dudes were cool as a fan, man. They were so cool. Yeah, and I got into it with one of their dudes, man, and their shot caller was totally on my side. He's like, "Man, you owe Casper an apology, man. If not, we're all gonna take you into the cell and one by one." And dude was like, "Man, I ain't giving this white boy an apology." He's like, "Are you for real?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'll let Casper beat you up right here, right?" And he was like, "Man," because he knew that they weren't gonna let us fight, so he like called his bluff, But yeah, this dude was so cool. I ended up doing a big back piece on him for like $200.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Gave him the white boy discount.
Don't tell anybody. Yeah. I'll get stabbed at the next spot.
That's right.
There can't be any spot. That's it, dude.
Yeah.
We've all broken our cards. There can't be any next month.
Yeah.
I'm no longer cool. I'm no longer cool. I'm old. I'm old.
Just because we're not in doesn't mean we still don't have connection.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I am. Do you know something? Here's the good news. The good news is we're creating content. And life is good. We're helping people. I have no reason to go to prison whatsoever. And besides, I got this rich friend. If I get in trouble, I'm calling his ass. Didn't he, dude? I know the game. Call my rich convict friend. Everybody's got one rich convict friend. You know,
I got your bail money now. Take a trip.
Oh, I'm calling collect. I'm telling you, dude. I know exactly what I'm calling.
Collect from who? No, I don't know.
You know.
Whenever someone tells me what's the good news, I always think in my head, Jesus died for my sins, man, because that is some great news, man. That's the real good news. The real good news.
We'd all be.
But I got your bail money. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So what's the latest with Q? We are just waiting for the courts to schedule when they're going to allow the hearing, because it's he's going to be in front of I guess it's a 3-judge panel. I don't understand exactly how it works, but you're not going in front of the sentencing judge. You go in front of a 3-judge panel, and the 3-judge panel decides whether or not you go back in front of that original judge to be resentenced.
That's a writ of certiorari or something like that.
Yeah.
A writ of it's CERTORIA or something like that.
Correct. Certiorari or whatever. But if the good news is this, there isn't a way to resentence him that he doesn't get out. He's never lost a day of good time. So
awesome,
no matter how they resentence this dude, he's gone. The maximum that they could give him is less time than he's already done. So if we get back in for the resentencing, and we don't know until they do the 2 out of the 3 need to rule in our.
You have no clue right now about anything, right?
What's that?
You have no clue about anything right now, or is it just still all up in the air?
No, we won't know until they're going to give us a date, and then he's going to get to go in there with the attorney, and they're going to argue the case for why he should be resentenced. And what it really comes down to is that it's going to be a medical argument about the development of his brain and everybody else's. I mean, really. So at 18, your brain isn't fully developed. So if the person was 17, that, the difference was about a 6-month window. If it had been 6 months earlier, they would have had to, they wouldn't have been able to bust off a double life sentence to an underage kid. The law would have changed, and he would have had to keep going back in to get resentenced and get resentenced.
Right.
For a guy that's done nothing wrong and has done everything right since then. I think they got a pretty good argument. He also didn't have a father, and his mom, and she's probably watching, but his mom was addicted to drugs when he was born, and she was a prostitute. She didn't know it's just a tough situation all the way around, and she's doing great. She's on her feet and killing it, and is fighting really hard for him too. But then, so we're just gonna wait and see. I feel good, man. I feel good about it. I really do. And he's never
I can't wait. I cannot wait to meet him, man.
Yeah.
You'll dig him. And you know what? It's funny because you'll feel like you know him. He's a lot like Stank was. That I don't know if you remember Sheldon from the black dude with the kickstand leg. Stank leg.
Oh yeah.
The two of them have a very similar sense of humor and soft spoken.
Cool.
Good dude. You'll dig him. He's funnier than hell.
Can't wait, man.
Time to get to bed? Oh no. That's good.
If he does get cleared to get out, we should start like a GoFundMe or something.
Oh no, I absolutely am. I'm way ahead of you, but
thanks, Lady Warrior.
Because I am the world's biggest grifter, and I apparently have slept with 40 of the people on the lifeboat to get cash from them. Right? These are the videos that they're making.
I'll donate
because of all of those things. I've never let anybody give me $1 for his defense. I've put up all that myself. I've never let anybody help. You've all asked. Literally, all of you have reached out and asked. I've never taken $1. I paid for his legal defense. When this cat gets out, the GoFundMe be in his name, so I don't have to hear anything about it, but I'll set that puppy up. I promise you. Here's the good news. Q ain't hurting. The one thing that we really got going for us is that he has been living his entire life saving money, investing in stock, doing all of this since he got popped. He has a good unicorn job, and he spends all of that money investing. He has lived his life like he was going to get out from Jump Street. Like he turned his life around and has been that dude. He's never lost a day of good time, man. How do you do 30 years without losing a day of good time.
Okay.
Wow, man. I lost almost all my good time in the first 3 years.
Me too.
Oh,
Yeah.
If they actually took away good
every
time
year.
for every
Yeah.
test that you failed, I would have lost all my good time in the first year. But they can
Yeah.
only ding you twice on a 100 series shot in a year. I mean, they can
Right.
write you up for 100 of them, but they only take time off.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
I did that in
If
the
he
first.
gets out, if he gets out, I'll help furnish his house. Put it
I
that way.
appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I will pass
Heck
that
yeah.
on. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man. It really is.
I
love
will.
that. I love that.
What else is going on over here in the chat?
Yeah, I know.
Well, I like it when Reese talks about a Sephora mask as well. So we're all in good company. Oh my God, Tommy!
Where is Reese in the chat? I'm sorry. Is Reese in the chat?
No, but somebody was saying they like watching when she does. No, I think she may already be in bed. It's a quarter to 10
okay.
in Bug
Oh,
Fest. Like,
all right.
this is one of my late nights here on Sunday, so she's probably already.
Don't I know it?
Yeah, and we're gonna wrap this up because I know that
My retirement's killing me.
Yeah, no, it must.
The day that he walks out of prison, he will have a chair to sit down with and open his first YouTube channel. His push has to do with fatherhood. It has to do with the fact that so many people in prison didn't have a father in their life. That's his heart is there. Like my heart was for people with drugs and that's where his heart is at.
I've got 2 decent cars, low mileage. I'll give him one.
You are a gentleman and a scholar. And you know what? I think that you will have that opportunity. I really do believe that he's going to get out.
I put that on my white skin, not my wife's Schwinn, but my white skin.
Yeah, awesome.
I'll put that right on that Schwinn.
Man, I take that as gospel, man. If it's on the skin, we don't mess around with our skin, dude.
You'll appreciate this.
Yeah,
that boy's Daniel Boone. He'll skin anything.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard that, dude, I fell down.
You're an Iranian jet pilot if you don't come through.
Yep.
That one always used to crack me up, man. That's
You
know Daniel Boone, don't you? I'm like, why do they call him Daniel Boone? Because he'll skin anything.
Yep.
Don't want to take his word for nothing. Tommy, are you worried that someone may try to do something to Q? You know something? I'm not. And the reason that I'm not is probably hard to explain. But you'd have to see this guy move. Both of these dudes know what I'm talking about. It's a difficult thing to explain, but there are people in prison who move in such a way that you look at them and go, nothing bad is ever going to happen to that dude. Like there's nobody, everybody is rooting for this guy. There's not a person in there that isn't rooting for him. It's just one of those, you don't see people very often that, but every once in a while you meet someone in prison and you think to yourself, they figured it out. They figured out all of it. Like this is a reformed dude, completely reformed. Guys are doing smack around them and, partying and doing gambling and all that. And dudes reading, working out, and reading like the Wall Street Journal and calling to decide what stocks he's selling. There's just nobody in there that's going to mess with the dude. And he's in Unicor, fortunately, for eight hours a day every day. Then he goes to a Unicor unit where blacks and whites hang out because it's a factory workers unit. It really is. It's a lot less prison than it is like a factory worker.
He's not getting my bike, but he can have a car.
Good. On your bike. This is funny. Jumping off. Thanks for the education, laughs, and community. You're all awesome. Well, thank you. And just before you go, we'll give you one more term to take with you. Jumping off is a prison term.
Yeah.
Jumping off is a prison term, and it usually means nothing good's about to start.
Yep.
It jumped off in the chow hall. Right.
Yeah. Man, you see it, man? It jumped off in the chow hall yesterday. Yeah.
The first time I ate at Old Folsom, you go into the cafeteria there, and they haven't changed things in like 50 years or more than that, for a while. But you're sitting at the octagon table, your 4 chairs, and if you move your tray or whatever, you could see how many bullet holes are all in the table.
Yep.
And your first question is well, they don't hold back, do they? And he's like, no. So if it jumps off in here, it's over.
Those boxes that they put on the wall that the first shot's supposed to go into, you can always tell how scary that ride is because you come in and there's 6 shots to the left of it. Like nobody can hit the target. Those boxes are always funny. It's lit up like the 4th of July around those.
Yeah,
I don't want
big
that
red target on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for those who don't know what we're talking about, they're supposed to fire a warning shot. So there's a box on the wall that the warning shot's supposed to go into. But when things are really getting hectic, those warning shots tend not to make it. And the biggest joke in the feds is that this is how it goes. They go like this. Bang. Boom. Right? The first one ain't the warning shot. That second one is the warning shot.
Yeah.
They get $5,000 if they shoot you. They get hazardous duty pay and 6 months off. If they could, they take out 2 years.
Yep, I seen a guy get hit, man. It was ugly.
I saw this today on YouTube about something I forget, but it's totally true that when they switched from 223 to Mini 14, because the 223 was hitting people, going through people. Yeah, going through and hit and ricocheting and hitting another guy in a yard. Like
that's what I seen happen.
Yeah, it did it to me, but they took us to the hole because the bullet fragments were in us, and we had possession of state property. That's how they classify it, and then put you in the hole for it.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
you
that's super wild.
Even though you had nothing to do with it, you're across the yard, across the softball field, bing, and it hits somebody else, drops him. Shrapnel hits you from the concrete wall, whatever. You're going to.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's super crazy, brother.
So they went to the Mini 14 because the Mini 14
won't stay inside you. They're gonna have to go in and get it out.
It'll bounce it around.
Yeah. What does this question say? Would you report abusive narcissist on probation who went out of county for a funeral and may not have obtained permission?
I'm going to answer that question this way. Rat is somebody who lives the gangster life and then tells on another gangster or tells on someone else to get out of trouble. If you don't live the gangster life, there's no such thing as a rat.
That's right.
Somebody that calls the police to turn in somebody that's doing something that they're not supposed to because they're a bad person and they're hurting someone. I mean, that's your call. I'm not a gangster anymore, man. If I knew somebody was beating on a woman, I would call the cops.
In a second.
If I could take that person off the street, I'd do that.
Yep. I have a situation going on right now too. Right now with my wife's best friend. She's in a shelter for abused, women, and her ex her husband is on the run, and we found out he was somewhere. Anyway, I encouraged her to do what was right for her,
right.
And with no judgment whatsoever. Right. And she fears that because she's been in the game before, but she's out of the game. She's fighting for her life. It's exactly
done and done, man. I'm no gangster. I'm a content creator. Right?
Yeah.
No gun.
That's right.
Microphone.
I've got open bedrooms if you need
it.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's a fairly safe bet. I have said for the last time, I need the top drawer and the bottom drawer. Put it all up there on the table. You can give me the toys. You can give me all of it. Just put it all up on the table. I am a retired criminal, man. I'm a content creator, and you guys make it easy. Both of you. Russ, go get some sleep, man. We've been keeping
yes, sir.
Good, man. I don't have to get up tomorrow.
Rich bastard.
Okay, I got a movie suggestion for everybody. And I don't even know why I'm doing this. I'm just gonna. It just came to my head when you said that. You sounded like Christopher Walken. The movie At Close Range with Sean Penn and Christopher Walken. Absolutely, hands down. If people are going to stay up tonight and they can find that movie, please watch that movie.
What's it called?
It's At Close Range. Madonna did the soundtrack. That's when Sean Penn met Madonna and they got married. It's a true story. It's a true story about the Whitewood gang in Kentucky. They were tractor thieves.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. I love both of those actors.
Those are both my favorite actors.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't urinate on Sean Penn if he was on fire, but I love watching the guy act. I really do. What was the name of the Falcon and the Snowman?
Yeah, Falcon and the Stone Man.
Did you ever meet either of those guys? They're both in the feds.
Oh, no, I never met those guys, but they're actually from where I grew up in Palos Verdes, Redondo Beach, Torrance, California. They're from that area. I just seen them.
They're at Lompoc.
Go ahead.
I think they're at Lompoc. Yeah. I think one of them is still at Lompoc. Yeah.
Wow. I used to live in Manhattan Beach.
I lived there for a long time.
Right next to it.
Justine says, comment, Sam, I hate that movie. I am so interested in why she hates that movie.
Yeah, you're gonna now have to tell. We're gonna stay up where no one's going anywhere until Cash.
Yeah.
Why you hated that movie.
Yeah, because that is an insane, great movie.
Like King of New York?
Huh?
I said, did you like the movie King of New York?
Oh, absolutely.
I thought he was great in that, man.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken at some of his best. I don't care if a dime bag gets sold in the park.
Yeah.
I want my cut. That was awesome, man. That was another thing that people would say. You'd hear people work those lines in prison all the time. Dude, I don't care if you're selling a 50 paper on the yard. I want my cut.
The Warriors was a great movie.
Warriors, good movie.
Yeah. That's probably the first. Warriors is probably the first movie I remember growing up. That was like gangs and like a different life than what I was surrounded by. And that's my earliest memory is the Warriors.
Probably me too.
Warriors.
New Jack City got my attention too. Remember when New Jack City came out? You know what's funny too? I was in Terre Haute with Nino Brown. The guy that they made that movie about. Yeah, it's not his name, but the guy that the character was based on, he's 5'4". He's like this tall. And he talks like this. And I said to a cop one day, I'm like, that is the most soft-spoken dude I've ever met. He goes, yeah. He used to say, I want you to go out there and kill all of those dudes. He's like, man, that guy killed more people than cancer. He may have said it with a real sweet voice. He told the story. He's like, when they came in, they did take over what happened in that movie happened. They took over a project and turned it into a crack house. I mean, they were making millions of dollars. It was just out of control. But when they came to get him, he hopped out the window and ran. And it was in the middle of the winter in Chicago. And he's like, I got away, Rock. He goes, I was a mile away running barefoot in the snow. He goes, I got away. They couldn't find me. They weren't even. He goes, and then I ran to try to find one of them because I knew I was going to die if I didn't get warm. He was out looking for the cops. Oh, it was a great story. So I ran out in nothing but boxers, man. He's like, I got away. And then I had to go find the cops and ask for help.
Yeah. Okay. Here we got an answer from Justine. I'm gonna read it. Should I show it or just read it? Oh, there you go. Yeah. I was young when that movie came out, and I admit I never watched the whole thing, probably only from the scenes in Madonna's video for the movie. I might give it a chance now. Oh, thank you. I promise you, you're going to love that movie. And what's great about it too, is there's a lot of actors in it in the background that are famous now. Yeah. Like Kiefer Sutherland's in it. What's the, Crispin Glover is in it.
Okay.
Crispin Glover used to go to the video store that I worked at. He would come and rent VHS tapes.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember Angie Dickinson?
Yeah, of course.
Police
Okay.
Police woman.
Yeah. Now, growing up in California, in Orange County, I knew her daughter, Nikki.
Oh,
Nikki
wow.
Backrack,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she killed herself not a few, but some years ago. But I would always go up to her house, and Nikki and I were always good friends because she had a mental challenge. But I'd always hang out with her, be cool with her. I would go up there and sit there with Angie Dickinson.
I loved her, dude. I had such a crush on her growing up. I had such a crush on the police woman.
When I met her, when I was, 17, 16, her legs were still insured for $1 million.
Yeah, banging legs. She was
Yeah, my mom loved her. I mean,
she was an action star too. Like she dove on cars and held on to them. Like that show was great, dude. I never missed that show.
She was in Rio Bravo with John Wayne and all that.
Man, Angie Dickinson's in this other movie. Is in a movie where she's a vigilante.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
There's been multiple movies where she played vigilantes.
Yeah, man, I
She's kind of
can't
that
remember.
character.
Yeah, where she like she protects this little Puerto Rican kid. He's like 5 years old, man. Man, that's a great movie, and I can't remember the name of it. We should do like a movie night. One of these.
What we got to do is take it to another platform so we don't get demonetized. But we can. I would love to set something like that up.
Oh,
the only other way you get away with it is you got to put it behind a firewall, and then one of the trolls buys a membership, then they report you, then you get it, then you get a strike. But we could probably do it in a Discord server or something like that. I would actually love to do that.
Oh yeah, Discord. I have a Discord server. I could set that up.
Oh yeah, I saw Bad Boys. Bad Boys was a great one. So was Colors.
Yeah, Colors.
Yeah.
Colors.
Yeah.
Colors. Colors.
I'm gonna fuck that rabbit.
King of the jungle.
Yeah.
Did you just really bust out? You did, dude. You did.
Ice-T.
You just busted out at the beginning of
6 in the morning.
Impressed, bro.
Police at my door. Fresh Adidas across the bathroom floor. Out the back window.
There was an old white guy in a wheelchair that did that in county. The movie came on and they were like Colors, and this old white dude just started busting into it in his wheelchair, and he knew every word.
Dude, I love that. I love that when stuff like that happens. Yeah. You're just like, what? That was dope.
All these white boys know the words to that. All right, people, I'm wrapping this up. This is my fourth show today. Thank you, Russ. It is always an honor to have you on here, my brother. I really appreciate you taking your time. I know it's 4 a.m. where you're at.
It's all right. I got to count some money.
And guys, don't forget tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. We will be doing the Morning Mayhem show.
All right.
The bars. If you got a rent, put that link up there. And we will see all of you next week on Night Yard. Between now and then, reach out and try to save somebody. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Mahalo.
Pass the